It was a night when the heavens themselves seemed to weep. In the heart of Mathura, deep within a windowless cell, the air was thick with the scent of wet earth and the metallic tang of fear. Outside, the Yamuna River roared, its waters swollen by a supernatural tempest. But inside the prison of King Kansa, a different kind of storm was reaching its climax. Years earlier, a celestial voice had pierced through the joyous music of a wedding procession, shattering the peace of the Yadava clan. It warned the tyrant Kansa, "The eighth son of this sister of yours, whom you are so fondly driving, shall be your slayer." That single prophecy turned a brother into a butcher and a palace into a tomb. Tonight, the eighth child is coming. To understand the birth of Krishna, we must understand the weight of the world at the end of the Dvapara Yuga. The Bhagavata Purana tells us that Earth, personified as the goddess Putavi, was drowning under the literal weight of demonic kings. These were not just men, they were Asura's ancient chaotic forces, reborn into royal lineages, masking their malice with crowns and scepters. Foremost among them was Kansa of the Bhoja dynasty. He had usurped the throne from his own father, Ugrasena, and forged an unholy alliance with Jarasandha of Magadha. Under Kansa, Shamham Dryasham Kanana, Dharma, the cosmic order, was not just ignored, it was systematically dismantled. Sacrifices were stopped, the righteous were persecuted, and the cry of the earth reached the heavens. The Harivamsa records that Brahma, the creator, led the Devas to the shores of the Milk Ocean. There, in the silence of deep meditation, they heard the voice of the Supreme Being, Lord Vishnu. He promised them he would soon manifest in the house of Vasudeva. This was not merely a rescue mission for a single kingdom, it was a cosmic correction. Vishnu's eighth avatar was to be the Purnavatar, the complete manifestation of the divine destined to restore the balance between good and evil. The stage was set in the Yadava clan. Vasudeva, a nobleman of the Vrishni lineage, married Devaki, Kansa's sister. It was a union meant to bridge powerful families, but the prophecy turned it into a death sentence. To save his wife's life on their wedding day, Vasudeva made a harrowing pact with Kansa. He would hand over every child born to them, provided Kansa spared Devaki. Kansa, consumed by abhaya, a perverse lack of fear born of ego, did not wait for the eighth son. One by one, as Devaki gave birth, Kansa entered the cell and dashed the infants against the stone walls. 6 sons of the Yadavas were lost to his paranoia. These 6, scripturally known as the Shadgarbhas, represented the 6 passions that cloud the human soul: lust, anger, greed, attachment, pride, and jealousy. Their deaths symbolized the purification required before the divine could appear. Then came the 7th pregnancy. Here, the Mahabharata and Purana describe a divine mystery. The child was not lost. He was attracted or transferred by the power of Yogamaya, the Lord's internal energy, from Devaki's womb to the womb of Rohini, Vasudeva's second wife, who was hiding in the village of Gokul. This child would become Balarama, the elder brother and the incarnation of the serpent Shisha. Kansa believed the 7th child was a miscarriage. He settled into a false sense of security, waiting for the 8th. The 8th child arrived on the 8th day of the dark fortnight of the month of Shravana. In the middle of the night, the prison guards fell into a supernatural slumber. The heavy iron chains binding Vasudeva and Devaki simply fell away. The massive wooden doors, bolted with iron, swung open of their own accord. Vasudeva stepped out into the storm. His instructions, received in a divine vision, were clear. Take the child across the Yamuna to the house of his friend, Nanda, the chieftain of the cowherds in Gokul. As he reached the river, the Yamuna was a churning wall of death. Yet, as the feet of the infant touched the water, the river parted, a path appearing through the chaos. Shasha, the eternal serpent, followed behind, his many hoods forming an umbrella to protect the newborn from the lashing rain. This was the great switch. In Gokul, Yashoda had also just given birth to a daughter, a manifestation of Yogamaya. In the silence of the night, Vasudeva swapped the children. He returned to the dungeon of Mathura with the girl, the cell doors locking behind him and the chains refastening as if by magic. When Kansa heard the cry of the infant, he rushed to the cell. Devaki pleaded for the girl's life, arguing that the prophecy specified a son. Kansa, blinded by destiny, ignored her. But as he swung the child toward the wall, she slipped from his hands and rose into the air. The child manifested as the great goddess. She mocked Kansa, her voice echoing through the stone corridors. "O fool, what will you gain by killing me? The one destined to kill you has already been born. He is elsewhere, and your end is certain." With that, she vanished, leaving Kansa in a state of paralyzing terror. While Kansa sent demon after demon to scour the countryside, the eighth son was growing up in the pastoral paradise of Gokul. The Harivamsa details how the miracles began almost immediately. He defeated the poison-breasted Putana, overturned the heavy cart Shakasura, and eventually protected his people from the wrath of Indra by lifting the Govardhan hill. Each Leela, or divine act, was a signpost pointing toward his true identity. The boy who was smuggled out in a basket would eventually return as a conqueror, not as a king seeking a crown, but as the fulfillment of a promise made at the shores of the Milk Ocean. He would enter Mathura, drag Kansa from his throne by his hair, and finally liberate his parents from the very dungeon where this story began. The birth of Krishna was more than a miraculous escape. It was the dawn of a new era. It set the stage for the most profound philosophical discourse in human history, the Bhagavad Gita, where the child of the dungeon would become the charioteer of the universe. This origin story reminds us that even in the darkest night, under the heaviest chains, the light of Dharma cannot be extinguished. Krishna's life is a tapestry of thousands of divine acts, from the theft of butter to the lifting of mountains. Which of his Leelas is your favorite? Let us know in the comments below. If you found this journey into ancient history compelling, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel as we continue to explore the legends of the past. Until next time, stay curious.